Button there on our switcher program. Good morning, good morning. We are live right now on Facebook and on YouTube as we get into the 36th chapter of the book of Isaiah this morning. That is where we have gotten up to throughout this whole journey that we're going through the Bible verse by verse. And we got a long ways to go. We got a lot of material to go. And when we finish the material that we have, get to the end of the Bible, we just go back to the beginning and start all over again. 46 degrees is our current temperature. Feels like 39 out there. We currently have a southwest wind at 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 33 miles per hour. We are in studio here at 2207 7th Street. If you're looking for us on Facebook, it is LV Cornerstone. If you're looking for us on YouTube, it is LV Cornerstone Church. And as I tell you already, we are going to go through the Bible verse by verse. Interesting place that we find ourselves already. Good morning, Chana. Good morning. Interesting. We have, here's where we're at. The 36th chapter, and I think it's the next 3 or 4 chapters, are twin chapters from the middle of 2 Kings. If you went to about chapter 18, 19, 20 or so of 2 Kings, you're going to find this story that we're looking at in Isaiah chapter 36. Good morning, Andrea. Same story. What has happened? Well, God has been warning Israel and promising them. Not only has he been warning that the Assyrians were coming, but he's been promising that he is going to do something exceedingly abundantly above all that they are able to ask or think. I mean, God is going to do something. This is a power move of God. And when God moves in power like this, just to show his people, just to bring that level of faith up in his people to a point to where they say, my God, how could we ever have doubted? How could we ever have thought otherwise? A people that were drifting away. We talk a lot about the word apostasy in the days that we're living in. There's promises about apostasy in the last days when people would begin to drift away from the faith. They would just kind of have a parallel, and the trouble is it wasn't exactly a parallel position when you're talking about apostasy. You know, you think that a person is walking alongside with you, but they're just at a little bit different angle. Let's say that you're here on the left and you're walking, and you got somebody that's walking alongside on your right side, and they're walking alongside you, but the angle and the direction that they're is just a little bit more to the right, and little by little they begin to separate from you a little bit more and a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you realize, man, that's what apostasy is all about. The people of Judah, the people of Israel, in the time of the kings, had drifted away from the faith. They had gone and attached themselves to, and it ends up, idolatry ends up in just opening up the door for demons coming in and all kinds of stuff. The thief that comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But God says, I'm here that you might have life and you might have it abundantly. So he's telling them, here's why the Assyrians are coming, but here's what I'm going to do to prove myself strong to you. So we've been looking at this wake-up call. We've been talking about this wake-up call for chapters and chapters that God has been warning. And one of the main instruments that he's been using through his word is Isaiah, the prophet, and the people that are attached with Isaiah that are speaking and telling the residents of Judah that God is going to do something. It was the indignation, I think, was the word that we used yesterday. Maybe we can add that to our vocabulary since we added another word recently, transcendent. Haven't had a chance to use that much yet, but I think I'm starting to get it, yeah, just about the time I need it'll be one of those, well, what was that word? Transition, trans something? No, transcended. But that's another story for another time, ladies and gentlemen. Isaiah chapter 36 is the history lesson. God has been saying, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. Now we have an opportunity to recount in the book of Isaiah, the same way we read it in 2 Kings, of how God did something glorious, exceedingly, abundantly above all. I wonder even if Isaiah was blown away by this whole thing. Maybe not. Maybe not. But I can guarantee you that the majority, the multitude of people in Israel were blown away by what God was going to do. Here, set it up one more time. The Assyrians had been coming from the north, way out there from the north. And they were taking cities. They were taking countries. One by one, one by one. They even came to northern Israel, to what we call Samaria. In some places, the Bible refers it to as Ephraim, but it is the northern kingdom, and they have conquered the northern kingdom. And they're going to just keep on going. And they say, whoever gets in our way, and I believe that really in their mind, in the mind of the Assyrians, their goal was Egypt, that empire that had been there for many, many generations. And I think that in their mind, the big prize was Egypt. But with the satanic influence that was there, really the big prize for the principalities and powers was Jerusalem. Now, good morning, Joe and Flo. Good morning. It came to pass, verse 1, chapter 36. This is the history lesson. This is, everything that's been spoken. Now it's a reality. The theme of it is, and this is my view, okay? The theme of it is when God tells us he's going to do something. Let me just put it in a personal state, okay? So I don't throw you under the let me throw myself under the bus, because this is the way Mark does stuff. He hears something that God says he's going to do. So right away, I get a picture in my mind of it happening. And then it happens different. And then I look backwards, I look in the rearview mirror, and I say, well, why did I think it was going to happen this way when it specifically said it was going to be A, B, C instead of X, Y, Z? And it was, after it happens, it's so evident. It's so, so I believe in rear view mirror prophecy, that most of the people that tell us what's going to happen don't have a clear enough full revelation of what's going to happen. And then after it happens, everybody's kind of clearing their throat a little bit. And a few people say, well, I told you, yeah, you told us this, but you also told us that, and it didn't happen. Anyway, so talking about the future and all that. And then God does it, and we look back and we say, wow, what a God. What a God. Rear view mirror revelation, I guess I could say, of future events. And I'm even thinking here, I wonder how much Isaiah was surprised about the whole thing that was going on. Okay? Erica's with us this morning. Okay? Flo and Joe are with us. Andrea's with us. Chana's with us. We'll see who else shows up there. Now, it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came against all the fortified cities of Judah and took them. For some reason or another, we're going to go to the first chapter real quick. Okay? Can I go to the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. So way at the beginning of the book, we knew that these were the kings that Isaiah was going to be ministering to and through their rulers over Judah. So we get to the 36th. I didn't have my bookmark on the right place. I'll change that right now. It came to pass. Good morning, Jody. What are you guys all so early this week? Are you doing penance over here on that? Now it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this was Sennacherib, the Assyrians were empire builders. You know, you have to really understand a little bit about empires, especially when you get into the Bible. Okay? The Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians. All of these built their empires, and they spread their wings as far as they could until most of the time they just imploded upon themselves. Now, it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of Judah and took them. You say, wait a minute. You've been telling us through the chapters that we've been through already, the preceding chapters have told us that God was not going to let Judah fall. And now you read the first verse, and you're telling that the cities of Judah were taken by Sennacherib and the Assyrians. What's that all about? Well, those were the border cities. Those were the cities probably that there was these fortified cities between Samaria and Judah. When the country of Israel split with the northern and the southern kingdom right after Solomon passed away, they fortified. They established a border that had never really been there before. You could probably equate it, and I think this would be a proper term, to the Mason-Dixon line that was in the Civil War. That was just kind of like the line between the North and the South, I believe. Well, there was a boundary that had been cut between the northern and the southern kingdom, and both of them had their installations there along their border. That was the fortified cities that Sennacherib has taken already. So he's a-coming. And he's just like a steamroller. He's taking them up one city at a time, one army at a time, one country at a time. The big thing is, don't get in his way. Then, I just love this. I just love it. The king of Assyria sent the Rabshakeh with a great army from Lachish to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem. So, the Assyrian army was in a place called Lachish. And Sennacherib was there leading the army. And what Sennacherib does is he sends the Rabshakeh. Rabshakeh wasn't a name, it was a title. Okay? Kind of like maybe a general or captain. I think they say really that Rabshakeh was the cupbearer, would be the proper translation of Rabshakeh. But this guy, that's his title. The king of Assyria sent the Rabshakeh with a great army from Lachish to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem. And he stood by the aqueduct from the upper pool on the highway to the fuller's field. So he finds himself a nice little comfortable place. Rena, good morning. He finds himself a nice little comfortable place, a place where everybody can see him by the aqueduct from the upper pool on the highway to the fuller's field. I have no idea what kind of a location that is, except what it tells us there. And Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, Shebna the scribe, and Joah, the son of Asaph the recorder, came out to him. Okay, Sennacherib, king of the Syrians. Hezekiah, king of the southern kingdom of Israel. I mean, I just hate even saying the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. I just hate that division. You got to hate the division that's going on even in our world today and all the circus that's going on, but causing so much division over and over again. But that's where we're at. That's the world that we're living in. Another subject for another day. But this, and I hate seeing this division between the northern, but that's the way it was. It was just, it is what it is. So Hezekiah sends out 3 of his trusted people, advisors, elders, whatever. I don't know what they were. Okay, it was Eliakim, who was over his household. Shebna the scribe and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder came out to him. Then the Rabshakeh said to them, "Say now to Hezekiah, thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is this in which you trust?" We're going to be looking at this conversation here with a little bit of a twist right after we do our weather report. But I have a song get us there. How about Selah singing "Were You There?" 26, almost 27 minutes after the hour. Weather report coming up in 3 minutes.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Whoa, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? And were you there when they laid his precious body in the tomb? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble. I tremble. And were you there when they laid him in the tomb? But were you there when he rose from the grave? Were you there when my Jesus rose from the grave? Sometimes it makes me want to shout, and I cry, yeah, and I begin to tremble. I tremble. Were you there when he rose from the grave?
let's look at our weather report. If you were on YouTube or on Facebook, you could have read it already. Where did I put that panel up? Not on purpose. Let's just say that. Anyway, 30 minutes after the hour, here is our updated weather report for Las Vegas and surrounding areas. Partly cloudy today with areas of blowing dust, high near 44 degrees, and that's exactly where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen. So enjoy the temperature because that's about all you're going to get today. Southwest wind 34 to 41, gusts up to 57, not 47, gusts up to 57 miles per hour. Yesterday was super windy in the afternoon, and today looks like it's going to be the same. Wednesday, sunny, high near 47. West wind 7 to 22, gusts only at 31 miles per hour. And then on Thursday, mostly sunny, high near 58, northwest wind 4 to 14 miles per hour. That is your updated weather report. We're going back into our scriptures for today. We're going to hit that button, and then we're going to hit this button, and then we're going to take that one off, but we're going to put that one on because prayer line is open till 8 o'clock this morning at 505-425-3717. Now, here's the way that I read this chapter. The Bible said, okay, transcendent. Yeah, maybe I have a way to use my new word, transcendent. We have to have a spiritual take on everything that's going on in our life. We are part of a bigger world than what we can taste, what we can see, what we can touch, what we can hear, and whatever the fifth one is. I always forget one out of the five at least. But this is the way I see this. The enemy comes, Jesus said this, the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's the way I look at this account right over here. The Assyrians have shown up. Sennacherib has sent his guy. You know, he didn't have to come himself. He says, let's see who I'm going to send. I'm going to send Molech. I'm going to send Baal. I'm going to send Ashtoreth. Who am I going to send? You know, have you read the book yet by Jonathan Cahn about, what is it, The Release of the Gods or the God, something about the latest book that Jonathan, I tell you what, interesting book. I don't read a lot of other books besides the Bible anymore like I used to, but that's one that I picked up when it came out and read it cover to cover, believe it or not. I have a lot of started books, but not a lot of finished one these days. So, Sennacherib sends his Rabshakeh, his cupbearer. And he stands over there by the fuller's field, on the highway to the fuller's field, by the aqueduct. And that's the thief, ladies and gentlemen. That's the thief. Listen to the way the enemy works. This is give you a good idea. This will give you some good pointers of how you can discern the voice of the enemy. Then the Rabshakeh, verse 4, said to them, say now to Hezekiah, thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is this in which you trust? Oh, why are you resisting me? Why didn't you just roll over and die? Well, not even die. Why don't you come out with a white flag? When the enemy comes to you, are you going to just give him the title deed to everything that you have? When the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, are we just going to roll over and we're just going to say, well, you know, I don't know what to do? No. We have exceedingly great promises that by them we might be partakers of the divine nature. And what it takes of discernment as we understand the transcendent nature of our lives. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's bad enough that I learn a new word and can barely pronounce it, but hopefully I'm using it properly. That's another thing. What confidence is this in which you trust? Don't you know who we are? Don't you know that we're the Assyrians? Don't you know that, we were the same serpent or the source of their power. Let's not give them too much, but the source of their power is that the same serpent that was there in Genesis chapter 3, asking questions. And that's the way the enemy comes, always asking a question. What confidence is this in which you trust? You guys just might as well just give us the keys to the town, and we can make an agreement between you, and you can live your little Christian life, and you can go to church on your little Sunday time slot, and you can have your little this and your little that. Just don't let it get out of control. Don't threaten me. Don't threaten the thing that I want to do. Don't you know that I'm the king of darkness? I can play him real good. Exactly, Chana. Return of the Gods was the book written by Jonathan Cahn. Thank you for helping me out. I mean, I need help out all the time, and I thank God for some of the people that are out over there saying, "Let me help the old man out." I mean, what confidence? What are you trusting in today? I say, verse 5, you speak of having plans and power for war, but they're mere words. Oh yeah, you wanna have war with me? They're mere words. Now, in whom do you trust that you rebel against me? I mean, the devil will show up to your front door and he won't even knock. He'll just walk in the front door and acts like if he owns it. And if you allow him to, if you just get down and bow your head and he'll kick you out. He'll say, okay, just clean, cook, be sure that my bed is made, and you just serve them for the rest of your life. I hate it, and I just can't stand for it. I see what the enemy, the thief. I see he's killing, he's stealing, he's destroying. Oh yeah, you say that you have plans. You say that you have an army. You say that you have this. What is it? The enemy's hearing what you're saying, ladies and gentlemen. The enemy knows, but he only has partial knowledge, and we'll get there. I say, don't you know, I'm Rabshakeh. Don't you see the stripes on my shoulders? And don't you see all the medals and the stars, here on my chest? Don't you know who I am? Intimidation. Stone cold intimidation. And let's just lay down the rules of warfare right now. If it wouldn't be that we had God on our side, give it up. Give him the keys. If it wasn't that we had a God who loved us and has made covenant with us, who sent his only begotten Son, died on the cross, rose from the dead, is coming back again to judge the living and the dead, I'm telling you, might as well just give up. And I think that's kind of where Israel finds themselves right now. But let's hear what they have to say. Let's go out over there and let's meet them. I say to you, you say have plans and power for war. It's just mere words. Now in whom do you trust that you rebel against me? Look, you are trusting in the staff of this broken reed Egypt, on which if a man leans, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all who trust in him. Oh yeah, he says. And the thing of it is the devil will know some of the things that you've been talking about, and sometimes he'd be even to pick your brain a little bit, know some of the things that you're thinking. Rabshakeh knows that people have gone to Egypt, and we've talked about this before. God warned them, don't go to Egypt. Don't think that Egypt is going to help you. But people went anyway. Rabshakeh knows that. And he says, listen, Rabshakeh is like that little stick that you're leaning on that's getting ready to break. And you better watch out, because when that stick breaks, it might it might pierce you and you be in a worse predicament than you ever were in. I mean, people don't like talking about spiritual warfare anymore. Now they're fighting over. I was reading a post today, man, that just blew my mind. There's a lot of talk these days about deliverance, and rightfully so. We should be talking about deliverance. The church should be active in deliverance. Yes, it has to be balanced. Not everything is a demon. I understand that. But we're living in this transcendent life that we have. And we should understand that we have an enemy along the way and that God has given us power over the enemy. Not just the powers of darkness, power over the world, power over the flesh, power over the kingdom of darkness. Now the king of darkness has shown up and sent one of his lackeys to, and trained in the intimidation tactics that the enemy uses all the time. He said, "Oh yeah. You think that Egypt? What do you resist? You think Egypt's going to come? You think Egypt's going to come and help you? Huh? You think the world is going to come and help you? That's what Egypt always represents in my worldview. My biblical worldview is Egypt represents the world." He says, "I'm going to go down there. I'm going to eat Pharaoh's lunch, man. He knows I'm a-coming. He's shaking in his boots over there by the Nile River someplace, knowing that I'm a-coming, knowing that they had their time and it's my time now. But, if you say to me, we trust in Yahweh our God." Oh, now he's really getting nasty. Let's see. What's the mindset of these residents of Jerusalem? We've already taken their cities, their fortified cities on their border. Now we're coming for them. They think that Egypt might help them. Okay, we'll present that. Oh yeah, but they have their God. The Assyrians had their gods. The Egyptians had their gods. Remember, we talk about this. Everybody, they had a transcendent lifestyle. But if you say to me, we trust in Yahweh our God, is it not he whose high places, whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and said to Judah and to Jerusalem, you shall worship before this altar? Now, here's where you see a break, a crack. The enemy will come with a lie with a little bit of truth mixed up in it. And when you can discern that, you said, you know what, Rabshakeh, you don't know what you're really talking about. And in verse 7, I find out where the lie is at. If you say to me, we trust in Yahweh our God, is it not he whose high places, whose altars Hezekiah has taken away? Thank you, Andrea. Didn't Hezekiah knock down all of Yahweh's altars except one? You don't know what you're talking about, Rabshakeh. The altars that Hezekiah tore down were the altars to the false gods that were out in the forests and the hills and the hidden places. So they weren't altars to Yahweh. And see, what Hezekiah had done is Hezekiah had brought reform unto the southern kingdom, and he had, and Isaiah was instrumental in this. They were trying to bring the people back to faith in Yahweh and pulling them away from all these false gods, these counterfeit gods that were out there. So when Rabshakeh says, well, you're trusting in Egypt, he ain't going to help you. He doesn't got, he's just a half-baked cake is all he is, a stick that's already cracked and ready to break. And then your Yahweh, Oh, wait a minute. You don't know what you're talking about, son. That's where I start sparking up. That's where all of a sudden I say, you know what? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. If you say to me, we trust in Yahweh our God, is it not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away? The answer is no. And said to Judah and Jerusalem, you shall worship before this altar. So what Hezekiah had done, it says, listen, the only altar prescribed by the covenant that we have with Yahweh is at the temple. That is the altar, none other. So he tore down the other ones, the false gods, the false altars. Now, therefore, I urge you, give a pledge to my master, the king of Assyria. There it is. If you thought I was making it up, if you thought and I'll get more dramatic about this whole thing here. But you know what? I hate what the enemy, what the enemy tries to do with us. I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, and he picked up another real good friend of ours just recently. Within just a few days ago, this guy was hitchhiking along the road, and my friend picked him up. Turned out to be somebody that we've known all of our lives. Tore up from the floor up. Jody knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say tore from the floor. A guy that we've been to church together with, and just somebody that you don't want to see. It just the enemy. Oh, and it just gets me. When I see what's going around our city, when I see what's going around our state, what's going around our country and our world, I just say, God, I know that you're able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that I'm able to ask or think, and I can't wait for the day that you do it. And the enemy will come and he'll try to plant these thoughts in our mind. It's not worth it. Nobody's, You can sit around and you can try to come up with false conclusions. Well, God's not doing nothing. It looks like the devil's winning. It looks no, sir. You gotta have patience. You gotta wait. You gotta pray. You gotta believe. You can't give up hope. We talked Sunday about finishing well. Very easy for us to say, well, it's a young man's game now. We're just good. Baloney. Sorry. So, you say, this guy's off the track. Now, therefore, I urge you, give a pledge to my master, the king of Assyria, and I will give you 2,000 horses. And then he starts snickering. If you are able on your part to put riders on them. He says, give a pledge. Sign the contract. Here's the I give up letter. Just put your John Henry over here, and I'm the I give up letter, and we'll give you 2,000 horses. I don't think you could get enough riders for that. I don't think you have 2,000 people who know how to ride a horse over there in Jerusalem. But so what he's doing, he's demeaning them. He's pulling them down. Therefore, I urge you. I see this as the devil that comes to kill, steal, and destroy. How then will you repel one captain of the least of my master's servants and put your trust in Egypt for chariots and horsemen? He says, if you can't even find 2,000 riders for the horses, I'll be willing to give you 2,000 horses. How then you repel one captain and put your trust in Egypt for chariots and horsemen? And the enemy, is after your faith, ladies and gentlemen. All of these lies, all of this intimidation that he's trying to bring up to, oh, yeah, you're this and you're that. What is it the enemy tries? He tries to paint a picture and tries to tear you down, tear you down, tear you down. Oh, you're not holy enough. You're not good enough. You don't pray enough. You don't this enough. You just, How are you going to do it? You can't do it. You can't even mount your own army. Why are you hiding behind those walls if you're so powerful? Have I now come up without Yahweh? Watch this. Oh, my God. Now he's really getting bold. I mean, he's preaching a sermon out there. Have I now come up without the Lord against this land to destroy it? The Lord, watch what it says. Look at it. Lord. If you can't see it there in the New King James Bible, it is in all caps. L, capital O, capital R, capital D, meaning that is referring to the redemptive name of God in the Old Testament, Yahweh. The Tetragrammaton. And the English Bibles, most of them that I know of, don't put Yahweh there. Longer story, but most of you know what the story is. Have I come up without Yahweh against this land to destroy it? Good morning, Kristen. How you doing? I think she jumped from from Facebook to YouTube. The Lord, he says, I'm here because your God sent me. I'm here because your God sent me. That same God that Hezekiah destroyed all of his altars except one. No. Now you're really getting it. Now, there I am with the two other guys that the King Hezekiah sent out, and we're looking at each other a little bit to the left and a little right. Says, you know what? Homeboy don't know what he's talking about. Homeboy's loose. I mean, he's a liar. He's a thief. I hope you can get this, because you know what? We are more than overcomers through Christ who loves us. We're more than conquerors. I guess that's what the Bible says, Book of Romans. More than conquerors. Why? Because we don't fight alone. It's time for when it's time for war. You know, we've been there already. Book of Ecclesiastes. There's a time and a season for everything under the sun. This was a time for war, but it was a spiritual battle. And God had already told them what was going to happen before it happened. All they have to do is go back to the word that the Lord had given Isaiah. And anyway, we'll see. This is like about 3 or 4 chapters long, so we're not going to get very far into it today. But I hope you just say, I don't need you to, I'm going to just read it for myself and let the Holy Spirit. Then Eliakim, Shebna, and Joah said to Rabshakeh, please speak to your servants in Aramaic, for we understand it. Do not speak to us in Hebrew in the hearing of the people who are on the wall. Rabshakeh has just said, Yahweh, nice and loud, Yahweh sent me. And the Hebrews say, hey, tone it down a little bit, man. Tone it down a little bit. We understand your language. Don't speak in our language. Huh? Because there's people that are listening. And you're freaking out the people. There it is, verse 11. Eliakim, Shebna, Joah said to the Rabshakeh, please speak to your servants in Aramaic, for we understand it. We understand your language. Just speak to us in your language. Do not speak to us in Hebrew in the hearing of the people who are on the wall. Kind of wonder who Rabshakeh is, that he was able to speak fluent Hebrew as well as Aramaic. He could have been one of the captives from the northern kingdom that the Assyrians had already taken already. Yep. Yeah, he really could have been one of those guys. But we don't know. All we know is that he's able to speak fluent Hebrew, and he speaks it a little loud. But the Rabshakeh said, has my master sent me? Ooh, I could get my, yeah. Has my master sent me to your master and to you to speak these words, and not to the men who sit on the wall who will eat and drink their own waste with you? I mean, this guy's really feeling it. Rabshakeh and all the Assyrians. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Has my master sent me to your master and to you to speak these words, and not to the men who sit on the wall, who will eat and drink their own waste with you? He says, I'm going to talk loud. Somebody get me my bullhorn. Go change the batteries on my bullhorn and get out over here. We need a sound system. Did we bring a sound system with us, boys? Yes, sir. Let me go get it plugged in. Can we borrow your extension cord, O great King Hezekiah, so we can tell everybody what our plans are and bring fear? There it is, and bring fear into their lives. We're gonna take you guys out. You just wait. You Christians, you people, you can't go to your churches anymore. That was the devil, man. Ooey, ooey. Oh, yeah, we'll get in trouble now. You can't have services anymore. The bars, they can stay open, but church services, too dangerous. Oh, yeah. Play a song. Change the subject. Get us up to the top of the hour, Fernando Ortega.
Come, thou fount of every blessing, to my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise his name, I'm fixed upon it, the name of God's redeeming love. Hitherto thy love has blessed me, thou hast drawn me to this place, and I know thy hand will lead me safely home by thy good grace. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God. He to rescue me from danger bought me with his precious blood. Oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to be. Let thy goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it, prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy courts above. Here's my heart. seal it for thy courts above.
Good morning, Las Vegas. You're listening to KLYN-LP on this Tuesday morning, 4th day of April. 7 o'clock is the time. 43 degrees is the current temperature. 18-mile-an-hour wind blowing out of the southwest, gusting up to 26 miles per hour. So that's where we're at right now. Full weather report coming up for you at the bottom of the hour. We are in the 36th chapter of the book of Isaiah. Glad that you're along with us this morning. Just trying to spark some hunger in our lives. Trying to open up our eyes just a little bit, with a little bit of drama along with it, okay? 505-425-3717 is the prayer line number. So if you need prayer this morning, you say, you know what? The enemy's been talking to me just like Rabshakeh. He's trying to put fear in my life. He's trying to, maybe you better call. 1 can send 1,000, 2 can send 10,000 to flight. 505-425-3717 is your prayer partner right now. Let's go back into the scriptures. And let's see if there's anything else I have to bring up before I continue. Then the Rabshakeh, verse 13, stood out and called with a loud voice in Hebrew and said, hear the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. He has a microphone in his hand now. He's not just talking loud. He's just broadcasting it all over the place, trying to bring fear into the hearts of the people, trying to tear them down. It's going on. It's going on. How many times a day is it going on in your life that the thief is trying to kill, steal, and destroy? Ladies and gentlemen, we have to fight for what God has given us. His word reveals what God has given to us. And when we allow the spirit of wisdom and revelation to come in, and we realize that God lives in us, and greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world, that alone can revolutionize your life. Nobody likes losing. You watch those guys play that game last night, or the girls the day before, the women the day before. Nobody likes losing. Everybody wants to come up. Listen, I don't want to lose at life. This is the only chance that I have. There's not another chance. There is no, I'm going to come back as a squirrel next time and a skunk. Yeah, probably. Anyway, no, man. I want to lose this. This is the only chance that I get. And what I do here makes a difference in eternity for me. Do not let Hezekiah deceive you. He will not be able to deliver you, verse 14, nor let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh, saying, the Lord will surely deliver us. This city will not be given into the hand of the king. I don't care. He said, I don't know what your king is telling you. I got a pretty good idea what your king is telling you. But don't listen to him. Change that channel. Okay, so my delivery isn't good. So my accent is off. So that, it's not a perfect, Hollywood production that's over here. Not even close to it. But I tell you what, it's still truth. And the enemy will try to get you to do anything to, I don't like the way he does this. I don't like the way he does that. I don't like that. Listen, eat the meat and spit out the bones. We've been saying that for many years. We've been talking about that. Thus says the king, do not let Hezekiah deceive you, for he will not be able to deliver you. Nor let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh. Don't you know that Yahweh sent us here? What a bunch of baloney. That is brash. Man, that's really going over the top. Thus says the king of Israel. Don't let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh. I mean, he's got the name down right. He's got the language down right. I mean, he's even quoting scripture. What did the devil tell Eve? Did God say? Oh, you know God? Oh yeah, we're best friends. Yeah, uh-huh. Sure you are. Don't let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord. The Lord will surely deliver us. The city will not be given to the hands of Assyria. Don't believe that stuff. That's just religious garbage is all it is. It's just a bunch of, talk that's over there. Give up America. Just lay down America. Just it's too late, too far gone. Too many people are out there. That's when God does his best, ladies and gentlemen. That's when God does his best. When it looks hopeless. And then he shows up. And he's going to show up. He's going to show up. Do not listen. Verse 16. I think that's where we left. Verse 16. Do not listen to Hezekiah, for thus says the king of Assyria, make peace with me by a present and come out to me, and every one of you will eat from his own vine, and every one from his own fig tree, and every one of you will drink the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyard. He says, listen, just go get that white flag and bring it out and sign the contract, and you guys can keep on with your businesses and your ranches and your farms and your little vacations, and you could just business as usual until I come to take you to a really nice place. You don't know the place I have for you. Well, it's got shackles on it, it has bars on it, and you don't have to wake up at night to see if the door's locked. Here's what, and I believe this comes from 1 John. Andrea put this scripture on. You are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. That's what the Bible says. Listen, you and God make a majority. I don't care how many devils are talking to you and how many people the devil is using to talk to you. You and God make a majority. And we have to fight for what belongs to us. God's trying to bring the fight in us. God's trying to awaken the warrior within us. Remember, we talked the other day about the end times warrior that we find in the book of Nehemiah. With one hand they built, and with the other hand they warred. A trowel in one hand, putting down the bricks and the stones, and with the other hand they had a sword ready to fight. There's a time and a season for everything. And if we're not fighting now, the fight's going to get harder later. Beware, verse 18, lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, the Lord, don't pay attention to Hezekiah. Has any one of the gods of the nations delivered its land from the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arpad? Where are the gods of the Sepharim? Indeed, they have delivered Samaria from my hand. He says, well, look at, we've been through Lebanon, we've been through Moab, we've been through all of these places, and the gods they've been crumbling, they've been falling down like pins in a bowling alley, one at a time. Strike. Another, Hamath, Arpad. Where are the gods of Sepharvaim? I said that right the first time. I can't say it right. That place. Indeed, they have delivered Samaria from my hand. Where are these gods? And what makes you think that your God is different? Huh? Where's Joseph Smith? I knocked him around a long time ago. You know, he didn't last into the third round. And what makes you think your God is? Oh, but it's the God who sent me. So you do know him, and there's all kinds of cracks in his story. Andrea just posted on Facebook. Yeah, they knock on your door and they say, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." We know all about that. FEMA says, "Yeah, we're here to help you. We're going to help you rebuild." I want to start hearing the stories of the places that FEMA has helped rebuild. I want to hear them. I'm talking about rebuild, not just put a few bucks in your pocket and a plug in your mouth. Who among the gods of these lands have delivered their countries from my hand, that Yahweh should deliver Jerusalem from my hand? We're going to take this land, whether you guys like it or not. We can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. You can come in and you can sign the contract and we'll let you hang around your houses for a while. And then one of these days we'll say, "Come on, let's go. We're going to take you up to a nice little pretty padded cell up over there where you have, everything that you ever wanted and needed." We're from the government and we're here to help. Verse 21, but they held their peace and answered him not a word. I love the comments. You got to be with us on a Sunday service every once in a while. We got questions that are popped in the middle of the sermons all the time. We don't just, okay, everybody, don't say nothing. He's talking. You got a question, raise your hand. Just make sure it's valid and fits the plan. But they held their peace and answered him not a word. Verse 21, for the king's commandment was, do not answer him. The guys that Hezekiah had sent out, they just listened. All they're doing is listening. Because the king had commanded them, don't say anything. But remember, there's the men on the walls that's hearing everything. And I'm sure they're going to take it hot and heavy to the residents of Jerusalem. What are they saying? What are they saying? Shh. I'll tell you in a little while. I got to listen. Then, verse 22, and this is probably the last verse that we're going to get into, and hopefully this just makes you study today. You're going to pull off to the side, maybe for lunch, get your burger and fries, and read some chapters here, and just kind of think of my take on this whole story. Then Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, came to Hezekiah with their clothes torn, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Okay, so they stand against Rabshakeh, and they're listening to everything that he says. They've told him, hey, shh, to keep it quiet. He's not keeping it quiet. But they're keeping their best face on, And don't look too good. Don't say nothing. Just look straight ahead. Everything's going to be okay. We're just going to keep on doing this the way that we're supposed to do it and do it what we're told right now. But then they go behind the wall and they start tearing their clothes up and they're throwing dust on their head and everything. They're saying, oh my God. And that's where we're going to end it for today. Tomorrow we'll we'll continue on this story because I tell you it's about 3 more chapters to go.
Standing here.